From the studios of the Bakersfield Californian, it's time to open up with real people and real talk about real stuff. And now, a special welcome to our friends throughout California, across the nation, and around the world to this week's edition of Open Up.
There we go. Caught her, didn't you?
Good morning. Yes. Put your cord over your shoulder. I'm Tina Miller.
And I'm Don Clark, your favorite pair on the air. And we're so glad to be with you and so glad you've joined us from all over the country and 19 countries around the world. Welcome. Great day here in Bakersfield. We have a tremendous show for you. I think you're going to want to hear what we have to share with you today.
Everything, Don. And so welcome to Open Up. And we are opening up in so many different countries. Thanks to you for viewing. And even here in Bakersfield, we have our live studio audience.
Yes, we do.
Hey! Woohoo! Don, later in the show, we will be talking with a young woman who had I think a car accident that left her physically disabled, and but she didn't give up. She channeled all of her energies into paintings, drawing, and painting to just help lighten the load of the pain that she was experiencing and such. And then we also have another young lady, and let me see if I can get her little motto right. It is never too late.
Never too late.
Never too late. Sounds like a song.
At my age,
never too late. No, Don. So anyway, but before that, Don, we have the state representative from Pennsylvania, 39th District, and his name is Rick Saccone.
Rick Saccone.
Yes. We're going to see a little video in just a moment. And then, to show the work that he does and the great work that he does. And then we're going to come back and we'll talk more with him. Chris?
All right, video.
On April 22nd, 2014, we celebrated the 150th anniversary of our national motto, "In God We Trust," on our coins. Although this phrase was not officially established as our national motto until President Eisenhower, it was first introduced to the nation by Francis Scott Key in 1814 as words that were eventually included in our national anthem. It was a Pennsylvanian, however, that installed those words on our coins. James Pollock from Milton, Pennsylvania, became our 13th governor, serving from 1855 to 1858. He was known as the Great Christian Governor. Coincidentally, during Pollock's term as governor, Penn State University was chartered, and Pollock became one of the original trustees. But before that, he served as a member of the U.S. Congress, and as a freshman, he had the good fortune to take a room at the same boarding house as another freshman congressman, Abraham Lincoln. They developed a long-lasting friendship. When Lincoln became president, he appointed Pollock director of the United States Mint in Philadelphia. As a devout Christian, Pollock wrote to the Secretary of Treasury, "We claim to be a Christian nation. Why should we not vindicate our character by honoring the God of nations? Our national coinage should do this. Its legends and devices should declare our trust in God, in Him who is King of kings and Lord of lords." Pollock suggested the motto, "In God We Trust," be stamped on all our coins, and so it has been since 1864, a memorial to God for all citizens to see every day. Because of this willingness to stand up for our godly heritage, generations of Americans have been imbued with this motto and a reminder of His special place in our nation. In 1956, "In God We Trust" became our national motto. Later, President Kennedy reinforced its importance by saying, "The guiding principle and prayer of this nation has been, is now, and shall ever be, in God we trust." And so, we honor the 150th anniversary of the visible acknowledgement of "In God We Trust" on our coins, and subsequently our national motto. I encourage all public schools to display our national motto, "In God We Trust," for all our children to learn and revere. Like our flag, we should display and celebrate our national motto. We should teach our children the value of patriotism and history. I hope you will also display our national motto in every place, public and private, that you can. Our country sorely needs a return to the traditional values and a reminder of the things that made our country a nation like no other. May God bless America.
Wow. May God bless America.
Tina, it was you that arranged for this special guest to be with us today. God bless you.
Oh, why, thank you. I always love blessings and receive blessings. Don, before I go back to our special guest here today, Nature's Fruit Market and Juice Bar has really done it. They have matched my outfit here with my drink, and thank you so much.
And you look marvelous.
Thank you, Don. This is Killer C. It's everything vitamin C in this drink that you need, and we thank them so much. They love us, and they care for our health. So let's talk to Rick Saccone here. Rick, welcome again.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay.
Rick, you're speaking tonight at a very special event. Tell us about that.
Yes, in God We Trust America is having their annual celebration for our national motto. The anniversary of our national motto becoming the actual national motto is July 30th, 1956. So this is the 59th anniversary. Next year we're going to celebrate the big 60th anniversary of that. So there'll be a lot of people there tonight. Myself and Colonel Alan West will be there speaking. And really looking forward to meeting the people of Bakersfield and reinforcing the importance of our national motto.
Yes, and welcome, welcome, welcome again to Bakersfield. So many times on our show, we hear people talk, even in our own community, talk about the people here in Bakersfield. So we certainly hope you experience that love and that warmth. And they're shaking their heads, yes.
You know, a quick 60-second history of this event tonight. It was our city councilor, Jackie Sullivan, the longest-serving city councilor on the Bakersfield City Council, and a very mild-mannered, soft-spoken woman, very sweet, but with a backbone of steel. And she was listening to a radio show one day, and it said some folks back east were offended by "In God We Trust" on a building, and we're working to take it down. And she just got her hackles up, and she said, if they can work to take it down, I can work to put it up. And,
Amen. Let's do it.
And now, as a result of her work, we've got more than, about 550 cities that have followed Bakersfield's example to put "In God We Trust" in the chambers where the people's business is conducted. And I understand, Rick, that kind of a similar thing spurred you to really jump into this whole issue of our nation's heritage full blast. Tell us about what drew you into this.
Yeah, when I first went to our state house, and by the way, our state house is like a cathedral. It's one of the few places on earth. I brought a little booklet with me. We have over 50 biblical quotations and references in our state house. And I've been to 14 other state houses since I've been a state representative, and they're devoid of God. But ours is, you go in there, there's scriptures, there's paintings. All of this is in our state house. But I found that people did not know about our godly heritage, and people were actually denying our godly heritage. People would say we're a secular country. We've always been a secular country. Our founders were deists. They didn't care about all those things. And I said, wait a minute. I'm sitting in this chamber where if I lean back in my chair and look at the ceiling behind me, there's a big 15-foot rectangle with John 8:32 on it. You shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free. So I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, well, why are you denying that God is part of our heritage when we have it right in our assembly's chamber? If you go into our Supreme Court building, right behind the Chief Justice's chair is a 10 by 14-foot painting of Moses pounding the 10 Commandments, and to the right is another one, same size, of Jesus giving the Sermon on the Mount with all the Beatitudes there. I'm like, come on, you're going to deny that it's there? And I found that the docents, when they take you around on the tours, they would not mention that. You could say, what's that painting there with that guy pounding? They'd say, well, that's a painting by so-and-so in 1914, and she was an avant-garde artist. No, what's it about there? Oh, no. They won't even mention our godly heritage. They won't mention the God part of it. They'll give you the art and the history of it. And I'm like, we've got to stop this. We've got to re-educate.
Have you been able to discern the motive, the reason why this denial of what is so evident and obvious in our history?
Yes, for more than 50 years now, we've been beaten down by the secularists who've demanded that God be sanitized from our public life, and that there's this notion, a false notion, of a separation of church and state, the way they're defining it, which was never intended by our founders. They'd always included God in everything about our founding, and about our founding documents and our founding icons. God is there. He's all over. But we're being told he's not there. And people who are even looking at it, like those paintings, are not seeing that God is there. They're seeing something else because that's what they're being educated on.
Rick, explain what is the mistaken version of separation of church and state and the correct version of separation of church and state in this country.
Yes, the founders only intended that we wouldn't have a national denomination, that all religions would be able to function and people would be able to worship in their own way or not worship at all. That was their intention, not to take God out of our public life, not to remove him from our government and from our public life. That was not their intention at all. And the evidence is in there in all of our documents and our icons. I mean, I like to give some examples, and I'll use this one tonight. Is walk down to Philadelphia, go to see the Liberty Bell. I don't know if you've been down to see the Liberty Bell or not. It's out in the open where everyone can see it. You can walk right up to it. It's beautiful. And if you walk up to it, you'll see right across the top of it in 4-inch letters is Leviticus 25:10, proclaim liberty throughout the land and to all the inhabitants thereof. When do you think if there was a notion of a separation of God from our state, our founders would have put that on the very icon of our history and our heritage is a scripture. And I also use the example of even today, George Washington started the tradition of when he swore his oath, when he swore in the act that made him the chief executive of this country, he swore it on the Bible. And he swore it on a particular verse, for him, Deuteronomy 28. But many presidents since then have carried on that tradition. And George Washington bent over and he kissed that Bible and he added to the oath, so help me God. And that tradition has been carried on by every president since. Even President Obama swore his oath, not on one Bible, but 2 Bibles. If you remember, he had the Martin Luther King Bible and the Abraham Lincoln Bible. So I always say, our president swore his oath on a stack of Bibles. So we need to hold him to those principles. So God is there. He's in there. He's in our ceremonies. He's in our documents. He's in our icons. If you walk through our Capitol, he's all over our national monuments. If you walk up to the Lincoln Memorial, for example, I love going to the Lincoln Memorial. It's one of our most visited sites. You walk up those beautiful granite steps, and there's Honest Abe looking down on you from that chair. If you look to the left, what do you see? The Gettysburg Address.
Yes.
And if you go about 3/4 of the way down there, what do you see? This nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, right? Ooh. So I was debating an atheist on the television one time, and he said, well, they should take that out of there because he shouldn't have said that. I said, but he did say it. It's history. He said, I know, but he shouldn't have said it. And so I said, you'd like to chisel it out, wouldn't you? He said, yes, we should chisel that out and cover it over with mortar. And I said, and that's what they will do if we let them. Eventually, they will erase every vestige of our godly heritage unless we stand up and educate our youth. 2 generations of our youth have grown up believing that we're a secular state and always have been, and we've got to change that.
And we need to take a break on that. We will come back.
And when we come back, Tina, I really want to hear other nations. We have 19 people in 19 nations watching. Other nations have adopted our motto and are pursuing our heritage as we abandon it. And we want to hear the results of what's happening in those countries.
Thank you for staying with us.